680 illegal immigrants were arrested Wednesday while working at food processing plants across Mississippi. U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement raided 7 plants as part of an ongoing worksite investigation.
While we are a nation of immigrants, more than that, we are first and foremost a nation of laws.
Workers filled 3 buses at Cook Foods, a poultry plant outside Jackson. Anyone who confirmed legal status was allowed to leave. Officials in Mississippi say this operation took 11 months of planning.
The arrests today were the result of a year-long criminal investigation, and the arrests and warrants that were executed today are just another step in that investigation.
Last month, President Trump threatened ICE raids in major cities.
They came in illegally. They have to go out.
And U.S. Attorney Mike Hurst had a warning to employers.
To those who use illegal aliens for a competitive advantage, if we find that you have violated federal criminal law, we're coming after you.
New Orleans Workers Center for Racial Justice works with undocumented workers in New Orleans. They said there's now more fear for similar raids in the city. They released a statement saying arresting parents on the first day of school does not make us safer. Silencing undocumented workers does not make us safer. They called on Congress to stop ICE from terrorizing immigrant communities. Meanwhile, some of those immigrants arrested in Mississippi may be headed to an ICE facility in Louisiana. The nearly 700 workers are being interviewed by ICE staff to determine who will be detained and who may be released from custody. Erica Ferrando, Eyewitness News.
And at this point, it is still unclear whether employers at the food processing plants will be charged in the ongoing investigation.